Okay, so let's say I go to the county. My property is part of the county. I basically say, hey, I want to subdivide my property. At that point, what am I going to have to submit to them in order to be able to start the process?
It can be done in a few months in the right circumstances. Again, if you have the right engineer, if you're dealing with a municipality that's open, if you're looking at space that is clean and easy to subdivide, like that's one thing. If you're trying to build, you know, a new 10 unit condo project in LA, right, in a neighborhood that doesn't want a condo project, absolutely it could take years. And you got to get tenants out, tear it down, build the new thing, right? Like it could easily take years.
How long does a subdivision typically take? Because I talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell in 6 months and I'm just gonna subdivide my property, and then once I subdivide it, I'm gonna keep one and then sell the other one. How long does it typically take? And obviously, I'm imagining that it depends on city, county, but on average, is this like a 6 month process, a 10-year process?
It's layers and scope. To add ADUs today, aside from like there's prefab
Yeah.
ADUs, right? So those you can do pretty dang quickly, right? Aside from that, if you're actually building, you're looking at 6 months to a year to put ADUs on a property, to go through all the process and do the work. In addition, as of today, most ADUs cannot be separately sold. California actually passed a law that says ADUs can be separately sold, but only if the local municipality passes a set of rules relative to how that works. And only one city in all of California has done that, which is San Jose. So unless you're in San Jose, you cannot sell your ADU today.
Okay, so let's say I go to the county. My property is part of the county. I basically say, hey, I want to subdivide my property. At that point, what am I going to have to submit to them in order to be able to start the process? Let's say that they've already told me, look, based on your lot, you can actually divide it into three different parcels. What are they going to require from me typically?
You're going to have what we call plans, right? So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to do this. No, you have to have an architect or an engineer draw up the plans of what's going to be built, where it's going to be built, all of the different pieces of the puzzle, so that this thing has electricity, this thing has, water, it has sewer, right? All of that has to be done, and they are going to look at it. So again, because of the way California passed the law, if up to 3 units on a single family residence within the size limits of the law, they can't deny it, but they still have to see the plans. And they're still going to come out and you're going to get a building permit, right? You got to actually build, you're going to get a building permit. And the city is going to come and at the different intervals inspect and approve and make sure everything is still up to code. So you don't get to avoid code just because you get to build. As long as you are building within the parameters, they can't say no, but they still, as a policing agency and a consumer protection agency, will control how you build so that you follow all of the legal requirements. So there's rules as to how thick things are, how tall things are, how wide things are, where things are, right? Like there's a whole
But let,
manual.
but let's say I wasn't building at this point, and let's just say I was subdividing the land,
Okay.
but we weren't getting into the construction phase.
Yep.
I'm imagining that the first step would be like a land survey, probably, right? Where they survey my land if it hasn't been surveyed already. And then from there, somebody can draw up proposed plans to be like, okay, this is the boundaries of your land. This is how we're going to
Mhm.
meet the county's requirements. And then basically we would submit that.
It's going to depend on where your property is and how big your property is, right? So there are minimum requirements for a parcel.
Yeah.
So as long as you can meet those requirements and you're within the guidelines of the area, you'll submit the plan. I've got this, mile wide piece of property, and now instead of 2 units, I want it to be 10 units, right? And so you'll submit the plan, and it will be done with engineering and all those obligations and requirements. and it'll be a months long process to work with the government to get that subdivided. Planning to build, you want to do you want to do everything at once. You don't want to do this in layers if you don't have to.
Why not?
Because every step you start over with the government, right? So if I'm going to subdivide and build, I want to get the approval for everything up front. So, for example, one of the big things in Los Angeles is taking what we call infill, right? So it's a property that currently exists that we're going to tear down and build something new on. When we plan to tear it down, we have to get city approval. And one of the pieces of that puzzle is the local neighbors. Like, they have to have a hearing and the neighbors have to be involved. So I don't want to have to do that twice. I don't want to. I'm already going to have neighbors whining about me building. I don't need them doing it multiple times, right? So you want your government approvals all at once. If you have an ultimate plan, you do not want to be getting them one piece at a time. And there's costs involved in all of this. So if you're going to build homes, you got to pay for infrastructure, for schools, for roads, for all kinds of things. So you've heard the concept of Mello Roos, right? That's taxes, right? So when you build new homes, they tax those new homeowners to pay for all the infrastructure that goes with those new homes. The roads, the schools, the maintenance, right? All of that is part of this. So it's a significant process.
Yeah. And then I've heard, and then I know we talked a little bit about timing, if they are not building something else and just subdividing the lot for whatever reason, I've heard it takes years to do that.
It depends.
Yeah.
Right?
What's the fastest and the longest you've ever seen it?
It can be done in a few months in the right circumstances. Again, if you have the right engineer, if you're dealing with a municipality that's open, if you're looking at space that is clean and easy to subdivide, like, that's one thing. If you're trying to build, a new 10-unit condo project in LA, right, in a neighborhood that doesn't want a condo project, absolutely it could take years. And you got to get tenants out, tear it down, build the new thing, right? Like, it could easily take years.